Hello Soulmates, good afternoon. So in this tutorial, I want to show you the sewing processes of how this lovely Maxi Danshiki outfit can be stitched. I've made a previous video on how to cut it, so you can do well to search a video that was posted before this, then watch the cutting processes and then come and watch how this can be stitched. As you can observe how detailed it is. Look at the armhole region. There's no rumples. It's a cut together Maxi Danshiki for men. It's trending, right? So you will learn the basics of how I slanted this outfit that gives me this perfect finishing, perfect fitting, and also see the back detailing that I have just done at the back region, having everything in place. So this outfit is trending. So if you want to learn this, you can watch this video till the very end, and don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Let's get down to the men sewing proper. So we want to start the sewing of the danshiki. Now these things I just gummed are the components I decided to use. These things are the fancy I want to add at the back neck region. This is called a collar gum. Just get a shape of your choice. It's not necessary though, but just to add more beauty to the outfit. That's why I gummed. Then I am trying to stitch it round. Then I will sew it round and then I will turn it over. Like I said, it's not necessary. But if you wish to do yours, you can still do yours. It's just kind of something that will add more beauty to the outfit. So just stitch at the edge of this. So I will sew this round and then I'll turn it over and show you. So now I have sewn it round. Then I will just trim out the sides. I will just trim out the sides just like this. Just trim it out. So this is optional, it's not compulsory, but if you can do it, you can go ahead and do that. Trim out the sides. So you can put a little notch at this curvy area so that it can turn perfectly well. Then cut out this edge, cut this out, then you turn it over. You have to gradually, you don't be in a haste, you have to gradually turn this over. You tuck it out, gradually you will turn it. So I will carefully do this and show you. So when you have turned this out, so you can now gently use your screwdriver or your scissors to tuck out the edges. Tuck out the edges. Tuck it out. Then you have to go and iron, then top stitch so that it will be properly relaxed. You have to iron and top stitch. So I'm not going to do that. I'll come back and show you the results. So now I have ironed, as you can see. It's now time for me to top stitch. So you top stitch with a machine footer round this, or you can top stitch at the tip. So let's do the tip top stitching. Top stitch all around. Top stitch at the tip. So I can go again and top stitch the second one. So we go all through these processes, and then this is the results. Now we have sewn that design. So let me show you the back piece. Now the back piece at the inner neck, I added a fancy vintage fabric. Now this vintage fabric I added is optional as well, but it helps to make the work very beautiful, right? So you can just decide to stitch it all right round. Of course, you must stitch it if you add it at the back. So you sew at this point. So you must make sure that your hands must be straight as possible and your threading must be as neat as possible, because it will be showing at the right side of the back piece, right? So you make sure you stitch it properly all through this way. Stitch properly all through this way. Give it a good press after you have sewn. Sew very well and then give it a good press. So now I have sewn this. Now remember, in the first video I showed in the drafting, which I will add somewhere around this video. If you have watched that first video on how to draft this, you understand how this was cut. If you have not watched it, please kindly go and watch it. Look at this video that will the link on that will pop up on this video. Follow the process, follow the link to go and watch how to draft this outfit. Then I want to show you as well how to fix the flap. I have prepared the flap and the piping. Before you start fixing the flap, you must have gummed at the wrong side, the inner panel, with your hairstay. Hairstay is ideal to use in gumming this stuff. It helps it to relax properly. So you gum, and then you are going to make a notch, a 6 inches notch from here, 6 inches or 6.5, depending, half an inch downwards this way, just like this. And then you're going to cut out a little portion here. You're going to cut out a little portion. This will help the flap to relax and make the flap not to tilt towards one direction when you finish fixing it. So this is like 0.2 or 0.3. So once you have done that, then I use a fancy flap for the inner smaller flap. Then the folding goes in this form. Have this left over here to use to attach to this part, and I will stitch from the inside just like this. Now you hold it from the inside. Hold it from the inside. This is how you fix your regular flap. So if you have been watching my previous videos on this, you can do this by yourself. So I'm just trying to teach you how to stitch this in case this is your first time of watching or learning small sewing. You can learn as well. So but if you're a pro already, you can go ahead and fix your flap with any method that is familiar with you. So but if you want to try my method, this is how I do mine, both on my senator outfits and on my danshiki. Anything that has to do with flap, this is how I fix my flap. And then once you have gotten to this point, cut your threads, and then fling it over to the front like this, you see that? Then top stitch. Now the top stitching is going to be the final stitch, and then make sure it's covering the first threading you have made. So you stitch all through, stitch at the tip, make sure you stitch all through this way, stitch all through this way. You lap it properly, lap it all through this way and stitch. Then you cut some excesses and leave like 1 inch, then bend the angular stuff to go down so that it can help you to hold it as well. Then stitch all along this line. Then after you have done this, then you are going to go ahead to fix the second flap. You cut your threads, and then second, that's the main flap, the bolder one. So I like to make a little notch more here. Then this is a feminine flap. I use collar gum to fix it, then use feminine gum to hem. But I will still open it up now. After the sewing, I will still come back, then stitch it from the wrong side, just like this. Stitch from the wrong side, 0.2, 0.3. Don't stitch more than that. Stitch all through to this point. There are other ways as well you can fix your flap, but this method I'm using is the one I am used to. So you can do well to make use of your own method as well to fix. So after that, cut your threads. You cut your threads, and then you turn it over to the front, just like this. Turn to the front, then making sure that you start stitching the flap from somewhere here. You know, you arrange it properly. Make sure that this is lapping on top, just this way, right? It must lap on top just this way. You get a hair. Then you're going to start your stitching from somewhere at the point where the notching ended. So somewhere here, you know, you start from here, stitch, and then top stitch at the tip of this flap. Top stitch at the tip. This helps the flap to relax as well. Some flaps you fix might be popping up. This is the cause, because when you stitch only on one side, the other side becomes a bit stretchy, especially if you're using the lighter version of the collar gum. Then before you stitch the other one, you make sure you stitch here first, the up one, lock it up first. Then once you have sewn there, then before you stitch the sideways, you make sure you arrange and align the whole flap to lap at the underneath. It must lap on top of each other this way. So you make sure the neckline must be equal, and then you arrange and then you stitch. So because of how big the danshiki is, it will be a bit bulky for you to handle, but you have to carefully do this. And as you're stitching, your hands must be as straight as possible as well. At any point that your hand shifted, you must loose and correct. Losing is part of the work. Don't feel you're making mistake. No, it's part of the training processes. You cannot succeed without failing. So you get used to it. There will be a time you can sew a full outfit without losing one bit. That time you have perfected or mastered your craft. Then you stitch. You gently handle the fabric. The fabric is junko, so it tends to it's mostly slippery. So you stitch all through from here, and then once you get to this point, you turn it over this other way around. Then arrange the neckline just like this properly. Drag it to lap. Make sure the arrow is pointing at the tip where you folded the center of the outfit, and then you stitch from there as well. So you take your time. The reason I'm leaving this video here is to show you the time frame it's taking me to stitch this, so that you don't think it's something you do under 1 minute. You can do it under 2 to 3 minutes. There's no problem. Just take your time. Stitch, and then after sewing these parts, you have to go and iron before you proceed. Don't say, let me join the shoulder. No, don't join the shoulder. You have to iron first before you proceed. And then be careful and make sure that this angular stuff here is being folded backwards. It must be folded backwards. This must lap on top, and then you arrange it. Don't allow the flap to be showing, except for fancy sake. Maybe you want this to show. Okay, but if you don't want it to show, it must be tucked in properly. So just make it to lap properly this way, and then stitch all along. So you must make sure you stop at that 6 inches notching. You measure your neckline 6 inches, 6.5, and then you cannot decide to end the flap sewing with any signatory stitch of your choice. You can now decide to do it a straight line, a curvy line, anyhow you want to end it, but make sure it's neatly done. So you stitch and end it any way you want it. So you cut your threads. So I will go and iron. Then I will come back to show you how to join the shoulder. Look at the inside finish. Look at how neat the inside is as well. Look at how neat here is as well, right? So let's go and iron. just the ironing will be done from the back, iron out, then remove the rumples so that you know how neat your job is. The sewing of male outfit requires a lot of ironing, unlike the female aspect where you can sew finish and you start ironing. But you must iron everything you have sewn so far before you proceed. So let's go iron and come back to show the results. Here I have ironed the flap. So it's, as you can see how neatly stitched the flap is, right? So now the next we are going to battle with now will be to join the back panel to the back piece. Now remember in my previous videos, I told you guys that okay, before we do that joining, let's do that design stuff we have sewn, we made. So let's just join this first. So this one will just be placed at the outside. Now bear in mind that it's optional. You might decide not to put this, but if you can put it, it's still very much okay. It helps your job to be a bit good. So this area, the collar gum did not reach here, so I will reduce it by 1/2 inch and give room for the piping to come in. Okay, the collar gum got to that point. Then I must make sure it's at the center. I can now stitch it just 1 inch down. So the back of this danshiki does not need to have back facing. It does not need to have back facing. Even if it will have, it's just a decorative facing, not like a full facing that covers the whole of the back. So even though you want to put facing, the facing can still be outside, but will still go in a curvy form this way, in a decorative manner, right? So now I have held this together. This is just, like I said, a fancy. I can decide to put stones at the back of this part, or put eyelet openings, depending on what you might want to do with this. But let me just leave it as plain for now. Then after you have done that, now remember in my other video, in my first video, I showed us on the drafting stage, I told us that you have 2 ways to join the shoulder. If you had added 3 inches on the back panel, you will place this 1/2 inch down this way, sew this first, and then you now top stitch, like giving you that packet shirt effect on the outer look, meaning that you will seal here and also seal the inside, so there will be no need to weave. But because of the way I want to make this outfit, I didn't add 3 inches, I used 2 inches. So I will sew it regular in the normal way, and then I will weave. Now the weaving will be done, and then I can now top stitch as well. So anyone you want to do, you can go ahead and do it. So, but just know how to join the danshiki. So you can decide to join directly and weave. So just stitch 1/2 inch or 0.5 or 0.25. Sew it from here. Sew it down. Hold this very well. Your hands must be as straight as possible as well. So you can weave it before you do this, or you can seal after sewing. You go and weave together. Anyone you want to do is solely your choice. So you stitch and then make sure that the both ends here are equal. So you stitch all through to the very end. So do the same thing on the other shoulder points as well. So I will, after this is the joining, right? This is how the joining looks like. So you can decide to top stitch or leave it that way, whichever one is still very much okay, but I'm not top stitching, I will leave it this way. So I will do the second one as well. So just holding them together like this from the back, the right sides facing the right sides, then sewing it down, sewing it down, sew it down, sew it down all through this way, sew it down all through this way, sew it down all through this way. Then after the sewing, I will go and weave it, and then I will now Continue from here. So I have finished this joining. So I will go and weave. I will come back and show you the next thing, which is the piping and the sleeve folding. So now I have weaved the outfit, the shoulder region. I have weaved it. So you have to iron it now so that it will be very relaxed. Then you also iron the shoulder part. So I have not done the other one. So after weaving, you have to place it this way with the ironing board. You see why the essence of these tools I showed us in some of my videos. Then you iron. Now the essence of this ironing is to remove, make it to lap properly. So these are the finishing touches that everybody needs to learn how to do. You iron this properly, and the essence of that slanting is to make this to lap effectively. It's very important. So you iron this. So when you're ironing, you have to push that allowance one side, either to the back or to the front. So now you have ironed the shoulder point. Then you are going to now, weave the tip here. You're going to weave the tip right here from this part, weave it to the other end, then fold like 2 inches or 1.5 inwards this way. So this folding will now cover this weave part so that it won't be showing, or you can still double fold and then sew. You get? I think we are going to double fold. So let's do the folding now. So you decide folding 2 inches or 2.5. You must measure, please make sure you measure. Don't assume it. You measure 2 inches or 2.5. So anyone you have decided to fold, you iron. So you carefully iron this to the very end, to that point where that's your sleeve opening started from and ended. So this is how it is. So you carefully arrange it, iron to that point. So once you have gotten to this point, then you can now fold the tip, to give you the final look you might wish to have. And this final look will be 1/4 or 1.5, just like this. So you might not need to put hemming gum so that it doesn't get excessively strong, but just make sure that the folding here is neatly done. So you arrange, fold it to this very point. So you arrange, fold to this very point. So once you have gotten to this point now, this is what it looks like. You get ahead. Do the same thing on the other shoulder. Now I have folded the sleeve region. So I will just sew. So because of the fabric I am using, I am not putting hemming gum here because I want to have that effect of jonkoso, right? So I don't want the sleeve region to be unnecessarily thick or heavy. So I will not hem. I will just thread. I will just thread it down. Thread it down. Normal sewing. So stitch very well. So make sure that what you're stitching must be equal with the whole length. So you stitch all along and make sure that this balances at the center point, so it's very easy to handle. So if you are deriving value or knowledge from this tutorial, please drop a heart emoji, comment, tell me where you're watching from, and also ask your questions so that I will know what most of you guys need. Then I will stitch the other sleeve, the other edge as well. So the reason I'm doing this first is because the piping is not a problem. I think this is where most people will have issues. I will still show you how to pipe, should in case you have issues with piping. So this is how the sewing will be like. Afterwards, I will iron as well. I'll also show you how to close. To watch the very end. Don't skip any part of this video so that you will get the full knowledge. Because this outfit is what is trending now. So you need it. You need it like to add to your knowledge so that you will be ready to handle the job when it comes. Not when it comes now, you start calling Mr. Redefined, asking me how to do this. Watch it now and learn it now so that that time you will not be in a tight corner to learn it. So you just keep it this way and stitch. So you stitch all through this area. So because of the jungle sew, you have to be very patient and also know how to carry the fabric on the machine. That's the sense of ironing these things first before you start the sewing processes. The ironing will make the work a whole lot easier for you. So you stitch it all through to the very end. Then let's pipe. After the piping, we will now show you how to do the closure or the closing of the side, which is going to be the last part of the tutorial. Now we want to start the piping, so you have to fold your piping this way and place it underneath the first fold, just like this, and then you tuck it in. So you must have made sure you cross-check the neck, right? So my neck, the way I drafted my neck, I don't need to trim the neck anymore because everything was perfectly considered when drafting. So if you have followed my processes and followed the neck formula I gave, you don't need to do much on the neck drafting anymore. You just need to, do the sewing directly. So you stitch, you carefully stitch all through. You carefully stitch all through, tuck it in all through this way. And once you're tucking it in, you bend the neck this way, lap this together, and then drag it back again. So if you sew small, you arrange. So small, arrange. Don't be in a haste to do everything at once, no. So that joining, I pushed it to face the front. The shoulder joining, I pushed it to face the front. So lap it properly, and then you stitch. So this is going to be a test of your patience. Place it this way, and then carefully, gently, you stitch. You stitch. So this is how it's done. Gently, you have to handle it gently. Don't be in a haste, please. Don't be in a haste. So place it in. You stitch. Place it this way. You stitch. So this is how you go around your neckline. Making sure that everything is properly sewn. Then getting to the end, you cut it out like half an inch out. Then fold this way, and then tuck it in at the first fold as well. So piping that seems to be a nightmare for some persons, it's not really a big deal. If you have followed my processes, you'll get it. So here you double stitch the tip again. So this double stitching is very important as well. It also helps to relax the neckline. So you gently stitch at the tip of the piping, right? So stitch at the tip all through this way. Stitch at the tip. If your thread has skipped any part, you have to correct it later on. But stitch at the tip all through. So the third one is optional. You can decide not to sew the third one if you know that your piping was cut in a very perfect bias. You can decide to leave this third threading. So I want to correct a little mistake that my piping, that my thread skipped. So now, after you have done all of this, then I want to just tack that back design stuff just to make it to hold firmly a little bit. Maybe just tack it at the middle here. Just tack it at the midpoint here. It's optional though, like I said, but it's just what I just didn't fit to do for my outfit. Just tack it small so it doesn't fling or dangle. So the next thing here now is to lock this side, which is where most of us are waiting or looking out for. So cut your threads just this way, and then to lock the side, like I said when the drafting video I made, so you decide on the opening of the armhole you want. So your decision is what will drive you to this very point. Then you must have made sure you arrange everything nicely. Then on the armhole opening, you now have to remeasure again what you want to have, right? So you measure and then decide on whatever opening you want to have. So here I will measure, I think I will use 15 or thereabouts. I want it to be a big armhole opening. 15 is ideal. So from here you measure 15 inches from the shoulder point. You can decide to do 14, 10, whatever. Some persons even want here to be fitted, like they will do it the round sleeve, let's say 14, 15 here. That's 7.5. You get so, but I'm doing 15, that's 30. You can do 12, you can do 11, whatever you want to do. It's your choice. So now, once you want to log this outfit, see how you place the machine. You will have to move in by 1/4 or one three quarter, or can do 1.5 in. So you use like 1.5 to lock the sides. Bear in mind that this does not need side opening. It doesn't need side opening, right? So you just lock it all through, and you will still trim the inside, and you will not add inner pocket here. If you must add pocket, it must be outer pocket, right? So if you want outer pocket, it must be outer pocket. That's outside pocket. But this outfit, I don't think is ideal to put pocket because of the nature. So such outfits, the owner will have to use a handbag or a purse. If you must want to have a pocket, that's the best thing. But most people prefer pockets. So this is how to lock it. You can decide to use any measurement here to lock your outfit here. If you want it to be smaller, you go ahead and measure and lock in this same direction. So I will lock the other one and then trim and show you as well how it looks like. So now I have finished the sewing. I will now trim the side and leave like 1 inch inside. I will trim the side and leave like 3/4 or 1 inch inside, and then I will weave it one after the other. I don't weave together, right? Weave one after the other. Trim all through to this very point. Trim all through to this very point. So you weave. After weaving, you give a notch here at this edge. Give a notch here at this edge to make here to relax properly. Then do the same thing at the other side. Trim and weave, and also give a notch at that edge. So this trimming, you must do it so that the excesses will be reduced, so that you can it can help you to relax the outfit from the inside. So trim this all through from here, and then you weave one by one. Weave it together, one like this. Weave one, then give a notch here. Then I will do that, and then I'll also show you how to fold on hem the base. After which I will show you the fitting of the outfit. So now I have weaved. Then after weaving, you have to carefully open press. Open pressing, like I do tell you guys, is a trick. in your jobs being relaxed or being perfect from the inside. You get. So you open press. So you just have to, take your time in doing all of this. If you have followed my video to this very point, I want to tell you congratulations and may God reward you and enlighten your cost, enlighten your knowledge for you to have enough ideas to tackle some jobs. I know most people might not watch this very point. Some will skip, some will end on the road. But if you have watched keenly to this very point, you must have been happy by now that you are watching, seeing the processes we are undergoing to achieve a neat outfit, right? So also drop a word of prayer for me because it's not easy. Despite my health challenges, I still use it to create videos. I was advised medically not to involve in stress, but then I said, what can I do for my online community that I have already created? Who will teach them the way I do? Obviously, no one will take my place, so I have to still find way to create this content for you guys to watch. So you iron out the sleeve region, to make everything lap. You have to iron carefully. Iron out all through this way. Then do the same thing on the other side. So I will do it and then show you the next to do as well. So now after you have done the side open pressing at the inside, then you have to iron it from the front as well. Right? Iron from the front as well. Now, note importantly that if you have not gave or notched that region, it might tend not to relax this area, you see. So that's why I'm trying to show you. So you see how mine came out so that you see the importance of notching that point. But before I notch, I must make sure I iron and remove every possible rump so far. And once you have done the outside ironing, you will now be able to determine the extent of your notching. So this is one of the simplest, one of the finest outfits you can make. And if someone wants to make this as well, I know some people will be asking me how much can they charge. You charge according to your professionalism. You charge according to how perfect you are. You charge according to how you want your job or how your job comes out. You get. But then, if I should give you a clue, you should charge nothing less than 20K in making this outfit, both the top and the trouser. So here, you give a notch at the armhole region. Give a notch here. Please give like 2 notches here. It's important you notch. So once you notch, it will relax the outer looks of the outfit. So let's notch the second one, the other side as well. So carefully give a notch here. Give 2 notches here, or possibly 3 if you want. Possibly 3 notches. So don't outcut or don't overcut. Possibly 3 notches to make sure it's relaxed. I think here too is okay here. Then let's see the outer finishing now. You can see it's now so relaxed. Look at it. Unlike the first one the first time without the notching. So here will now be relaxed, right? So this is the trick you can use, but make sure that the measurements you are using to stitch this outfit is correct so that there'll be no need to amend or whatsoever. Obviously, this is a very free outfit, like very bogus outfit, so you don't really need to, engage yourself with fitted measurements. Just use the parameters I have used in this one, and you achieve the same result. So you go ahead and iron every other part. You see how it has relaxed at the outer look. So now we have done this. Now the next we are going to do will be our neck ironing and the hem folding. So for the neck ironing, I know most of you as well do have issues on the neck ironing. So the simplest way to iron your neck is to first of all iron from the inside, like from the back, just like this. You place it this way and you iron. So this helps the neck to take proper shape from the inside, and it removes every possible shiny effects that might have dropped as a result of the ironing. So you iron from the inside, just like this. You also iron from the inside, just like this. You see, right? It's helping the neck to relax better. You see, right? So now let's go and then do the outer ironing of the neck from the front. You see how it's relaxed? Then let's do the outer ironing of the neck from the front. So now you place it in this form, just like this. You see, just in this form, just like this. Then you iron the final one from the front. You see that it's a whole lot easier now. If you have not ironed from the inside, it will be a bit bulky for you to handle right now. So if you have watched to this very point, please, I will beg you to share this video, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. If you're a first-time viewer, you are highly welcome. If you're a returning viewer, please join us on this community where we share free tutorials on male fashion designing. Look at how beautiful our neckline is. You see, this is lapping perfectly on this part. Person button will be placed, right? So you see how beautiful it is already. So you carefully iron your neckline perfectly. You carefully iron. So this is it. So this is how it is. Look at the beauty we have created. So now, you now take bearing from the shoulder here, and then you iron this side, so that it will lap. Take bearing from the neck edge, and then you iron this side. You iron. So this is a very lovely outfit. You see, you iron. So carefully arrange. So every tailor must know how to iron, because ironing is part of the job. No matter how you want to be perfect, if you don't know how to iron, you can't be perfect. So you iron. You iron. Then the back, you can place this. You can place this on top like this and iron this region where you have thread, right? And make sure you are using exact thread. You iron everything out. So now, the last but not the least is to hem this. Is to fold this. So in folding, you now decide on how many inch you want to fold. So usually I don't fold much. I will fold like 1.5 or 1.75, just like this. I will just get the actual length I want and iron it this way. I will iron the length I want. You don't need to hem, right? You just need to stitch. You don't need to hem this. You just have to stitch. So you fold to the length of your choice. Make sure it's properly folded, and then you can now tuck it in. just like this, tuck it in just like this. Make sure that the both lengths are corresponding. So once you tuck it in properly just like this, the next you will do is to iron again to get the exact of this finishing. So you carefully arrange, then you iron. You know, you don't need to put a slit like I told you earlier on. So you just fold. So you just fold to the very end. So this is what it looks like. Then you will now use your hand, you know, when so easy now, just double fold this one and then sew. So I will do this and then I will show you the finishing. So now we want to now iron the hem. I have sewn the baseline. So here you iron the hem. So the reason I'm showing you the whole processes I am undergoing in this video, in this sewing, is to make you understand the detailing, you know, the whole iron and sew process that involves in male outfits. So I know most female designers who might want to sew this for their husbands might be wishing that they can sew without ironing, but then the truth is that it's not possible. You need to be very careful and be very patient when doing this. So you iron both the front and the back. You iron everything. So the ironing you're doing now is part of the finishing. So should in case you don't even have to do laundry, the owner of the outfit can put it on and, you know, go wherever he wants to go from your office. So the last thing here to do now is to put pressing button at the neck region, right? So let's see the outfits on my mannequin. Right, so here is the final look of our lovely Maxi Danshiki outfit. Now, as you can see how beautiful this is. Look at the back, you know, the details at the back. Look at how the back is well detailed. Look at the neckline piping, how it's relaxed. The flap, how it's properly finished. Everything is in place, you know. So this is the look that you will have when you have followed the instructions I have outlaid in this video. So this can go with your red cap, white cap, black cap, and then your necklace, either your gold, your beadings, your black bead, red bead, white bead, anything that culture demands or you prefer in your own region. So this is how it is. Personally, some persons do put side pockets at this outer area, which personally I don't like. So I prefer that some outfit like this go on plain. You can complement the look with your black purse or any color purse you have that will suit the outfit. So the trouser is a regular trouser, which you can go ahead and make the trouser. Usually it's always the back elastic, front rope and zip, which I've also taught us on this channel. So you can do well to search for it. Watch it as a complimentary video on how to stitch the trouser. So the trouser panel, the trouser is the same with my regular trouser of the back elastic and front rope. So this is solely for the stitching processes of this lovely Danshiki outfit. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Bye-bye for now.